Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. It's Monday. Let's start the week off well. Today, we have another ally deck. This time it's going to be Tricolor. It's going to be led by Gideon, the ally of Zendikar. This was actually the one I spent the most time playing during this block. And it's Tricolor, like I said. So red, green, and white, Tricolor allies. And I'm going to start again with my lands. So here we go. The first land that we are going to play, we're going to be playing 4 copies. We're going to need 4 copies of the ally encampment. And now the way that this land works. You tap, you can add colorless to your mana pool. Or tap, add one mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this only when casting ally spells. Or third effect, for 1 mana and tap, sacrifice, return target ally you control to its owner's hand. Now, the reason that last one is so good is when you guys are using the rally effects. Because again, rally is when they or somebody else is played that is an ally. All creatures you control gain something. So again, this is very, very useful. Next up, I ran 2 copies of the Fertile Thicket. This comes into play tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you may look at the top 5 of your library, your deck. If you do, reveal 1 basic land amongst them, put that on the top of the library, the rest to the bottom in any order, and then like a normal forest, it taps to add green. Since it was Zendikar, full art lands were a thing. I ran 4 forests, all full art. It was nice. Next, I ran 2 copies of Looming Spires. Again, enters the battlefield tapped, creates generically red mana. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets a +1/1 and first strike until the end of the turn. Now, this would have been way cooler had it been haste back then, but first strike, still very nice. Very, very nice. And again, full arts. So we're going to go ahead with our 4 mountains. So it's basically like a 6/6/6 split plus the encampments. And this is to make sure that we get what we need. Next up, guys, soak it in. This is the full art planes. There are 4 of them. And because I'm so into alphabetizing, that's why this happened. 2 copies of the Sandstone Bridge. Again, enters tapped, generically adds white mana this time. This one, when enters play, gives somebody 1/1 vigilance until the end of the turn. So again, a couple little added effects, but each one to do something specific. Now, going through the main meat of the deck, we, of course, did play Gideon, the ally of Zendikar. And as you can tell, he starts with 4 Devotion as a 4 cast. For +1 until end of turn, he becomes a 1/1 human ally with Indestructible, still a Planeswalker, prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. Now, becoming an ally and a creature, I do not think counts as being put into play, since the Planeswalker card is already in play. So I do not think this is going to trigger any rally effects. We never played it that way, guys. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments section so that anybody else looking at this who might want to play this themselves can play it correctly. For 0 Devotion, you can place a 2/2 white Knight ally creature token onto the battlefield. This would count. And then last, for -4, you get an emblem with creatures you control get a +1/1. Now, unless this has also changed since I've played, emblems are essentially like a token that's not a token, and I don't think they can be targeted or destroyed. If that has changed, let me know in the comments, because I'm very interested in that. Next up, we're going to be using 2 copies of the Angelic Captain. So this is the flying. When attacks, gets 1/1 for every attacking ally outside of itself, and is a 4/3 on 5. So very nice. Again, I love the art for it. I thought it was very cool. Next one, we're going to be running 4 copies of the Beastcaller Savant. Love this character. Has haste, which is weird for a green card. Is a 1/1 on 2. And when you tap this card for its ability, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, spend it only on creature spells. Which is fine, because this very jacked Smeagol is going to help us so much. Next up, you guys may remember the Chasm Guides from last deck. These guys rally, everybody gains haste. It is a 3/2 on 4. You guys may recognize the Expedition Envoys, the 2/1s on 1. Again, very good at tripping rally effects. We have a copy of the Hero of Gomafada. Again, when rallies, creatures you control gain indestructible for the turn. It is a 4/3 on 5. Very nice. One that wasn't in the last deck is the Lantern Scout. We're going to run 2 copies as soon as this focuses. When rallies, creatures you control gain lifelink. So the way lifelink works, for those of you who, again, are Yu-Gi-Oh fans predominantly, lifelink is when a creature does damage to either another creature or to a player. Whatever damage they get off, in this case it should be 3 because 3 is the power. That is how much health it will allow us to gain. So it's like semi-vampiric. Would have been cool to make this one a vampire, but it is what it is. Next up, we are going to be running 4 copies of the Lifespring Druid. And her ability is to, maybe that's not a she. No, that's a she. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool on the tap. It is a 2/1 on 3, which is not bad. We're going to use 1 copy of the McKindy Patrol this time. This is the one that gives us Vigilance on Rally. It is a 2/3 on 3. 2 copies of the Resolute Blade Master. This is the Rally for Double Strike. It is a 2/2 on 5 and still very awesome. Our legendary for this deck is going to be Zeta or Zada, the Hadron Grinder. And as you can tell, I do have what looks to be 2 different ones. But what happened is, during the print run, I noticed certain cards seemed to be more saturated with ink than others that had the normal appearance. So we count this sort of as a misprint, and I had another one. This would be in a hard case somewhere. But for the most part, I don't really play these that often. So they do stay inside of their deck box, and they are inside of their card protectors. This is going to be a Goblin ally. Now, the way this one works, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Zeta, copy the spell for each other creature you control that the spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. So rather than rallying based on summoning, Zeta's essentially rallying the effect of a spell to rainbow it across my side of the field. Now this is cool, but this could also be weird. Okay? And you do have to target all creatures that you control. So do try to make sure it's like something good. Moving into the regular spells, we have some instants. We have Infuse with Elements, 2 copies. Converge. Put X 1/1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast Infuse with Elements. In this deck, that will be 3. That creature gains trample until the end of the turn. So again, this is a possible 3/3 where it's permanent counters as well as trample. We do this to Zeta. All of our characters get 3/1 counters and trample for the turn. So again, Zeta really good. We have Sure Strike. We play 2. Target creature gets 3/0 first strike until the end of the turn. Or if we target Zeta, everybody gets it for 2 mana. It's awesome. Next, we use a copy of Swell of Growth. Target creature gets 2/2 until end of turn. You may put a land card from hand onto the battlefield. So this is a question. So let's grab Zeta one more time. Zeta says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets Zeta, copy the spell for each creature you target. I do think you get to actually throw a whole bunch of land onto the field. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me. But usually when I played it, I didn't have any land in my hand except the one I was trying to play. So never really came up. We're going to play 4 copies of Seek the Wilds. Look at the top 4 of your library. Reveal a creature or land amongst them. Place it in hand. Rest to the bottom of the deck. Any order. So this is very good. Helps us start searching and try to ramp quick. Or find the right people later. 3 copies of Unified Front. It will be a nice sorcery for us. It has Converge. So again, based on the number of mana colors we use, place a 1/1 white core allied creature token onto the battlefield per color. Again, in our deck. This is 3. This spell maxes out at 4, so we didn't go too far off of it. And then last but not least, we have 3 of the enchantment Retreat to Emeria. So this has a landfall effect. So whenever land enters the battlefield under my control, I get to choose an effect and resolve it. I get to place a 1/1 white core ally onto the battlefield, which again triggers the rallies, or creatures you control get 1/1 until the end of the turn. So again, pretty good stuff. And I think you guys can agree that when Gideon is running the allies, it is a very fun build. It is a very fun time. And again, his favorite ally here happens to be Zada for the ability to share the spell effects. So guys, if you like this, do the things. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll do better next time. Guys, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to continue my 3-time structure decks tomorrow. So if you guys are still interested in those, keep viewing. Until next time, see you guys later.